Hi, I'm Robert Murphy.
I'm Gilson Spidell.
We're both with Elite Paranormal Society based out of Keedysville, Maryland. We're putting together some informational videos, basically some paranormal tidbits, call them, about how to do certain things and what type of equipment to use for those that are new in the field, those who have even been in the field for a little while and want some new ideas.
Yeah.
Now, this is just coming from our experience in the field, and we're just trying to share with those out there that are interested in it.
And also help you out with low cost savings. That way you don't have to go out and buy the fancy stuff that's out there right now until you get built up to that point. Some of the equipment that we have is pretty reasonable and you can buy at a local store.
All right, Gilson, so what are we going to cover today?
Today we're going to cover over some flashlight sessions and how we use different equipment, so we're not limiting ourselves to the spirit box or using the K2 meters or EVP readings and stuff like that. We want to have video and visual stuff that makes the oohs and ahs of the people that watch get a better experience with different tools that we use.
What we're going to do is, typically when we're out on location, it's very common to have people come up and they want to watch and they start asking questions. If you're ever around us, you're more than welcome to do it. Don't worry about scaring off the ghost or the spirits. It's absolutely all right. Come on, get closer to us, ask the questions. In this case, Gilson's going to be a person who's going to start asking questions. Hopefully he's going to answer whatever you might have about using flashlights for flashlight sessions when we use these out in the field.
So what's a typical flashlight that you would use for these flashlight sessions?
We always stick with the mag lights. It doesn't really matter as far as we can use the smaller ones or a little bit larger. But we always use mag lights while we're actually...
Could you use the larger mag lights if you wanted to?
Yeah, you can, but they're extremely cumbersome and bulky, and it's a lot easier when we're going out into a field and you're traveling. You know, put them in your pocket.
In a pouch or something that you're carrying?
Correct.
What's a typical mag light cost?
Typically, mag lights, like what we use, usually run between $10 and $12. So it's very cheap. It's a great tool. It's very cheap, and the interaction you can have with it makes it well worth it.
Does it make a difference if you use the LED flashlights versus the regular halogen light bulbs?
No, you can. Any of the light bulbs you have in it work all the same way.
Okay. Rechargeable battery. Do you typically stay with the same type of battery?
The batteries, as long as it can be rechargeable or fresh batteries, regardless, you want to make sure your batteries have a very good charge on them. You don't want to go out there with something that's halfway, especially in colder weather. That will pull down a little bit on your batteries, but you don't want them to die out while you're right in the middle of the session.
Now, when you get to the client, when you're working with a client or you're working with people that's around you and stuff like that, what do you typically do with the flashlight before you get started?
Before we even start, we'd actually take the flashlight apart just to go ahead and show it's just a flashlight, it's a couple batteries in it, nothing to it, no gadgets, because if we get to an area, not all areas are as active, but you get to an area where it actually starts working, it'll blow your mind. So people want to look, see if there's any tricks of how you're doing it.
Now, when you get the flashlight, what do you have to do to the flashlight to get it to work?
The flashlight, what we're doing is we're setting it so it's just barely going off. We're trying to make the electrical connection to be so close that basically a spirit, being known in the paranormal field that the spirit is electrical, that it's going to use its form to actually make that little bit of a connection.
Now, why isn't our connection, our physical body, triggering it?
Because we're so grounded. We are electric as well, just like everything else, and we're grounded to a point that we're not putting off enough to actually set it off.
Okay.
It just takes a little bit of loose energy.
Now, like cell phones and other equipment that we carry, will that trigger the lights to go off? Is that something that we can use to trigger the lights to go off?
Fortunately, and this is one of the reasons why we use the flashlight, unlike the K2 and several other pieces of equipment, walkie-talkies, cell phones have no effect on these whatsoever.
At all?
None.
Okay. Now, what is a typical surface that you try to put these flashlights on?
What we're looking for on the surface is we want something solid. Ideally, it's going to have something solid, whether it's concrete, a stone wall, the ground itself. We've put them on the ground. Sorry, I didn't mean to blind you. Put them on the ground itself.
So a slight vibration, just like what we saw there, you're setting the flashlight off.
Correct.
So anybody walking by could set the flashlight off, correct?
Which is considered contamination that we're not going to use.
Okay.
So we want to let them just set for about 5 minutes. Once we adjust it, we get it to where it just barely goes off. We want to set the lights down on a solid surface. That way, again, if anybody walks by, anything happens, even on the ground, stomp on the ground, make sure they're not going to go
Now,
off.
would you videotape the area that you're looking at, so you're trying to get, anybody that's debunking this stuff?
Integrity is a high priority in this business. In our field, you know as well as I do, integrity is really what makes the difference. So the better you can videotape, even here, if we're going to videotape and we're doing it for a regular live purpose to show a client, we'd actually catch underneath, we'd catch above, catch the full area. So you know there's nothing going on.
Now, do you test the theories? Not the theories, but do you test the vibration? You said stomp on the floor or stuff like that. Do you typically do that on camera?
Yes, absolutely. You want to see. I mean, we want to know that we're not wasting our time. We don't want to be out in the field and actually be wasting our time talking to ourselves. People do get wrapped up into that. And it's no different than with flashlights. When you ask a question with a flashlight, you're looking for a response to come back in 1 to 10 seconds. You don't want to wait, okay, 2 minutes later, it just turned on. That's nothing.
Yeah. Now, I see another flashlight here. You have here, it's, I had to physically turn it on.
A push button, right.
A push
Just a
button
regular,
one.
simple push button.
Now, would this be a flashlight that you would use?
No, for only finding your way in the dark, okay? A push button, the mechanical design is obviously a lot more physical. We're looking for just that little bit of free electrical to go ahead and make the connection doing it this way with the mag lights.
All right. What are some typical questions you would ask using the flashlight sessions?
During a flashlight session, it's not only do we always have some targeted questions we have. If is it a male, is it a female, But these are questions we can come back and we can repeat on if you find something that's actually following you. And when I say following, we want something that's going to react like at least 3 times in a row. If we say, if this is a male, can you turn a flashlight on, then the flashlight comes on, or a female, whichever one you have luck with, and it responds to it, a few minutes later, you're going to ask the same question to see if you get the same response.
Now, we're dealing with spirits,
Yes.
different energies and stuff like that. What if the spirit was born before flashlights were invented, and the spirit wouldn't understand what a flashlight was? What could you tell the spirit, hey, what this is?
With all the equipment, it's the same way. They don't know what all the fancy gadgets are and all the lights. Great point. With a flashlight, everything that had light on it before was considered, a torch, something that's going to burn. So what we want to explain to them is we could call it a torch, even a lantern, even though it's not the same shape of a lantern.
Candle.
But and show them it's not going to burn. It's not going to hurt them. And explain to them that's a big deal is they don't necessarily know how to turn them on or turn them off. We're explaining put any part of your form or body right on it and you'll make that connection, you'll make the light come on. Then we explain to them just move back and the light will go back off.
Now, what if they didn't understand the color? You have red, blue, and silver here. Do they understand colors? Would you pinpoint the colors to them?
Well, again, using multiple colors, the reason for that is where you can stipulate one for yes, one for no, if you have good interaction.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not sure whether or not, and it's viable, no different than people on this side can't see, some people can't see color. You can always go ahead and put the one on the left. This one right here is for yes, this one is for no. That's perfectly fine.
So you had more experience. Now, we keep saying ask them questions. Do we have to ask the question?
As with that one in particular, once you do this long enough, you'll find out there's different categories they fit in. And when you ask a question, first you want to give a little time for a response. Even if we're asking the flashlight questions, you definitely want to have a recorder down, because maybe they can't go ahead and turn a flashlight on. So you say, hey, can you turn the flashlight on? If that recorder's running, and we have caught EVPs, yes. I can't.
Yeah.
Where they just haven't been able to figure out how to manipulate it. So, a very big deal.
Now, the flashlight sessions are great because we have different experiences. He's had experiences with them. I've had experiences with them, which the flashlights turn on, and I asked them, can you turn both flashlights on to impress me? And they have. They turned both flashlights on, and I told them to walk away from the flashlights, and they both turn off. What's the coincidence of both of them coming on at the same time? It's kind of hard to do. That's why we use them typically a lot. We do ask people, like you said, we ask people in the audience that are coming around from the ghost hunts and the tours, and they get the ahs and the oohs on it of watching what we're doing. So
And not only are we looking for the lights, you can also, it's another object that can be moved. You can certainly tell them, hey, if you're welcome, go ahead and knock over one of the flashlights for us. We're not going to get mad. You know, can you move a flashlight? We've had flashlights that have sat there and actually just sat and spin real slowly. We've had other flashlights that have actually rolled around,
rolled off, yes.
had them knocked off.
Yeah.
When you have stuff like that,
It's a tool. It's another piece of equipment.
and for the price, how can you go wrong? It
Yeah.
doesn't take really that long to learn how to use them. Price-wise, they're invaluable. If you have any other questions, you can certainly go ahead and look us up on Facebook under Elite Parasoc, ELITE PARASOC. Find us on Facebook. You can ask us questions, get in contact with us.
Share your videos and your experiences with us. We'd love to review them and love to find out what other experiences that other people are having.
Yeah, this is a networking, and we're just trying to go ahead and put some tools out there in your hands or anybody you know. Show you, even though you're going to hear people try to debunk and say, hey, these don't really work, you get your own field experience out there, you'll find out these work a lot better than most people are willing to admit. It's a simple little secret they like to keep in their tool bag. We're just telling you they work. Give them a shot.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks.